Hi, this is Civil Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into the microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. And this time I'll be playing Max Payne 2 with Fall of Max Payne blind. I've never played this game, and in fact I've only played the original Max Payne 1 quite recently, but they've been lying on my shelf for years now, and it's seems that it's a good idea to finally finish them, especially because I've enjoyed the first one immensely, and I think it was a really good and enjoyable game. And also, the thing that I probably liked the most was the atmosphere, like the Max's narration over the cutscenes. The music was nice in places in which it actually existed, and the overall feel of the game, which was very like dreamlike, but in an unsettling, almost nightmarish quality. Well, there were actual nightmare sequences also, which were quite creepy and really atmospheric. And the gameplay was nothing like overly spectacular, but it was very enjoyable the way bullet time worked. So I'm eager to see how this game improves or changes the things that the first game already did great. Now, from what I checked, there is no tutorial in this game, and I don't really need it after playing the first one recently, especially because the tutorial in the first one didn't have to do anything with the story. It was just an out of character sort of, learning the ropes. However, I checked, and there is a previously on Max Payne sort of segment which recaps the story of the first one in the same style that the cutscenes are in. That is, those quote-unquote comic book strips with Max's narration over them. And I think it may be cool to check it out, because quite well done, and it will help rehash the major points of the previous one's story. And I would just want to have it preserved on the recording. So I'll start with that and then proceed onto the new game.
I am Max Payne. My wife and daughter were murdered. It had something to do with the designer drug V. I transferred from the NYPD to the DEA, went undercover to find their killers. I got too close. I was framed for murder. With nothing to lose, I went after the Mafia during the worst winter storm in a century. My first stop was Vinny Gagnetti, a lowlife in the habit of taking his frustrations out on underage call girls. I left him bleeding in an alley after I'd gotten what I wanted out of him. I met Mona Sax in a gothic nightclub, Ragnarok. She was a hired killer. We were after the same man, her sister's sadistic husband. I was drawn to her for all the wrong reasons. I made a deal with Vladimir Lem. The Russian was a smooth operator. He helped me get to the mob boss I was after, but I was in over my head. The government was involved. A mystery man called Alfred Woden told me the name of my real enemy, Nicole Horn. Woden and Horn were both members of a secret society, the Inner Circle. She was behind V, behind everything. While working for the DA, my wife had accidentally seen papers that incriminated Horn. Woden promised to take care of the charges against me if I took Horn out. Deputy Chief Jim Bravura of the NYPD was trailing me by the empty shell casings that I left behind. Gunshots made me deaf to the sirens, but they couldn't drown the sobs of my dead wife. Mona sided with me against Horn. She took a bullet for that. Her body disappeared behind closing elevator doors. I killed Horn. I gave myself up to the police. I had enough evidence against Woden to know that he'd keep his promise. I lied to myself that it was over. I was still alive. My loved ones were still dead. It wasn't over.
Okay, so that was the recap, and now onto the new game. as in the first one, there is only one difficulty level at first, and you unlock the other ones once you finish the game. In the case of the first one, I was a little annoyed at this, but it turned out the game was actually quite challenging at the end, so I don't think it is going to be much of a problem, and I'm sure there will be parts in which I'll die frequently, especially later on. So it should be fun nonetheless, so let us start.
God, I turned out to be such a damsel in distress.
They were all dead. Love kills. Did I love her? Was there a choice? The past is a gaping hole. You try to run from it. The more you run, the deeper, more terrible it grows behind you, its edges yawning at your heels. Your only chance is to turn around and face it.
We are at the scene. Repeat, we are at the scene.
But it's like looking down into the grave of your love.
Check the area. Hold your fire.
Or kissing the mouth of a gun, a bullet trembling in its dark nest, ready to blow your head off.
We're losing him.
Multiple gunshot wounds. Pupils blown, head trauma, God only knows what
He's in
else.
shock. Start 2 large bore IVs, get him to ICU.
He's not responding. This guy is a train wreck. We're losing.
When I woke up in the hospital earlier tonight, I thought it couldn't get any worse. I opened my eyes, and everything slid into focus. She was dead. I was hurt. My crime, what I had done, was like a hungry pit behind me. I had to run, get as far away from it as possible. The world was out of joint. I was hallucinating. I had to get away.
Max, the route's clear.
Allow me to present Max Payne. Come on up. Max, dearest of all my friends.
Pain? It's yours to get out of here in the
Max, 911.
Sorry, I left you.
Run! Run!
Okay, I'm rather confused by the continuity of this scene, like when it's supposed to take place, because it can't be right after the beginning of the first game, because then Max was taken into custody by the police and didn't seem that hurt to warrant, going into the ICU in the hospital. So maybe it'll be explained later or something, but for now I'm not really sure, when this is all taking place and what exactly happened. Of course, the famous painkillers, which he's been popping like candy at this point. Now you can actually, I don't know if there was actually a single working mirror in the first game, but in this one you can actually look at yourself, which is always cool in games. And you can see the upgrade in graphics immediately, especially if you look at Max's head.
About what happened.
I will fight. Max Payne! Drop your weapon! NYPD, please!
Hello?
What were you thinking?
Anyone there?
Back off, Payne. Max? Max, answer me, Max!
So he's having auditory hallucinations.
What are you so afraid of?
Visual
What
as
do you
well.
want from me?
There was a blind spot in my head. A bullet-shaped hole where the answer should be. Call it denial. I wanted to dig inside my skull and scrape out the pain.
So it must be a significant amount of time later, because we saw, although I'm not sure if it was a hallucination as in something he wished had happened or feared had happened or something that actually happened, but we've seen Max and Mona hook up, and that didn't happen in the first game, so maybe it happened in the meantime. But well, the first game actually started, like the first cutscene in the first game was actually showcasing the end of the game, so maybe it's a similar situation that we're going to sort of backtrack from and learn what happened. Okay, so there's a dead person, dead cop around, but what was heard at the beginning was actually Nicole Horn, the antagonist from the first game. It was the first conversation she had with Max at the beginning of the previous game. So that was also a hallucination, I guess. That's a painkiller ad, which is fitting, I guess. And the guy on the ad actually looks surprisingly like Max Payne himself, if you look at the hair. Okay, so there's some shenanigans going on.
I'll deal with Payne. He's as good as dead.
Freeze, NYPD!
Found him.
Okay, the physics are way more sort of overblown. He got really pushed back by those 3 shots, and something like this obviously wouldn't happen in real world. The regular 9mm pistol doesn't have that much force behind it to push a grown man that amount of distance. I doubt it would even happen with like a larger caliber revolver or something. It's mostly a movie invention, but I guess it looks kind of cool and fits with the overall use of bullet time and action movie cliches.
She's one of them. She's here to kill me.
Back off, Payne.
Winterson!
Yeah, it must take place later in the sort of storyline, because this Winterson character I don't think ever appeared in the first one, but Max obviously knows her and had dealings with her before, so I'm sure it'll be explained eventually. This is interesting. It's pretty much sort of a rehash of the story from the first game, told in the way of children drawings, because there you have Dad, who's a policeman, there's a family, Dad with rather distinct hairline and a black jacket, and everyone's happy. Not sure what this signifies, although the monster has a brow line that's sort of V-shaped, so that might be a reference to the drag Valkyr. Then again, mom and the child got killed, which is exactly what happened in the first game. And there you have Max Payne, crying his eyes out, which I guess is exactly what is happening now, and has been happening ever since. So that is kind of creepy. Like, I wonder if like the most logical explanation is probably because it's pretty unlikely that the same exact thing has happened to some other child who had the similar looking father who was also a cop. So what I think is happening and is kind of fitting is that Max's subconscious has created those drawings as a way to it's his trauma resurfacing again, because he reminisces over his family often. So it's a very cool way to do that. I'm not sure if I can't really decipher the drawings behind, and the wallpaper as well. I think is kind of similar, or maybe even the same wallpaper that Max's daughter had in her room at his home. So that is also kind of fitting. I can't really decipher those drawings further away. Like a dog, flowers.
Birds in the trees, children playing. The Pink Bird Mental Institute. Mira's men pretended to be hospital wardens.
The flesh. I think I died. I think I'm dead. I don't know. Death is coming. It's coming. They're here. Get away. I'm gonna hurt you.
They said I was an escaped mental patient.
Diagnosis? Paranoid schizophrenic. You are insane. Psychotic. You have to eat plenty of pills to get better.
They lied that I had killed my girlfriend. John Mira came to mock me in the bathroom mirror. The flamingo was with him.
Mirrors are more fun than television.
Mira claimed my girlfriend had turned evil, joined him.
She has dyed her hair red.
I smashed the mirror. I'd kill them all.
That's the
Stay
show.
tuned as Address Unknown continues.
The show that has appeared in the first game already. And what was strange but kind of cool as well was words that the guy, being dragged into the mental ward was saying. I think there were pretty much the exact words.
Castling Insurance Companies, because your home is your castle. For more information, call now. 555-CASTLE.
Pretty much the same words that the drug addicts in the first game used to say. So I wonder if it's like a real thing or...
Television is as fun as mirrors. 2 days and 2 nights non-stop. The cult series Address Unknown. All the episodes, all the madness in our return to Sender Marathon.
So it's or if it's another time, where Max's subconscious has sort of drafted his own memories and stuff onto the appearance of the outside world.
Americans avenge your 9mm handgun when it's too late to protect your loved ones.
No!
Americans Avenger for the payback time. To order now, call 555-GUN.
Hey, that's a really grim commercial.
A year's worth of ammunition absolutely free.
which again sort of seems like something, you know, Max would project, that he was too late to protect his family, and yet he still wants to avenge them.
Max Heat and Laura Norder in Max Heat 7. Late night adult entertainment after midnight.
Pleased to meet you, dearest of all my friends. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Vladimir Ray. I invite you to the grand opening of my restaurant. Vodka. Come, make a scene. You will be seen. Clear as vodka.
Vodka. Style, grace, and taste. Opening soon.
Who's the man with nothing to lose? Who's the grimiest, cat-busting, metaphor-spewing, avenging badass in the ghetto? That's right, Dick Justice.
Wait, wasn't Dick Justice the name of one of the Mooks' guns in the first?
Clean Sing Cleaning Products. After dirty business, come clean with us. Dial 555 Clean. That's 555 Clean. Clean Sing Cleaning Products. The choice of crime scene cleanup services. Oh boy!
I don't mean to brag, but give me a bat and a zombie head, and I'll hit a home run every single time.
A girl!
Yawn. Wake me up when you're done trying to impress me.
An army of freaking zombie demons from outer space. And a whole lot of cartoon kung fu butt kicking. The Adventures of Captain Baseball Bat Boy.
In the Brooklyn School for the Blind, we know that seeing is not the same as believing. The Brooklyn School for the Blind, our doors are open.
Hi, you've called Dangerous Liaison.
I wonder for how long does it go on?
PSSY, when you want to do more than just talk. Dangerous Liaisons, our girls are eager to hear from you.
Intervectum, 600 milligrams. A serious painkiller for serious pain.
When I got shot in the line of duty as a police officer, Intervectum was all I took for the pain.
Intervectum kills your pain. Intervectum, 600 milligrams. A serious painkiller for serious pain.
Oh man, lords and ladies from the first game.
Magazine says it is the best costume drama since the tragic affairs of Jonathan Nightingale. Elegance says it has more melodrama than the award-winning A Sudden Loss of Innocence. Silk and Lace gives it 5 handkerchiefs. Lords and Ladies continues with all new episodes.
Castling Insurance Company.
Okay, it's starting to loop. Now, it was really interesting that the guy in the commercial who was taking all the painkillers was a cop, so again, and he kind of looked like Max too, so again, it was like, you know, the game sort of winking at you with all those references.
Payne! You're not going anywhere. What happened out there? You did it. Internal affairs is breathing down my neck. Did you do it? You killed her.
No, I can't.
Bullshit!
They were after me. It was my fault. You can't run from your past. You'll end up running in circles. Until you fall back down to the same hole you were trying to escape from. Only the hole's grown deeper.
Okay, I'm kind of surprised that he survived it. The gas tank hitting inside the elevator shaft, which he was in, so there wasn't much place to hide. But I am even more confused as to what exactly is happening and when it's happening. But I suspect that is a similar thing to first game, because Tim Bravura, our boss at the NYPD, accused us of killing someone, and I guess the rest of the game will sort of explain how we got to that moment.
I had tried to run from it, edit it out. Winterson was dead. I was a murderer. A false start. The hospital bed wasn't the beginning. It was past the point of no return. A fatal choice already made, and it would get worse before the end. The past is a puzzle, like a broken mirror. As you piece it together and you cut yourself, your image keeps shifting, and you change with it. It could destroy you, drive you mad. It could set you free.
You, inside! Drop your weapons and come out with your hands above your head!
You'll see the choices you didn't know you'd made, like staying at work late to chat with a friend, instead of hurrying home to your family.
Fan out, people! Circle around! Cover all the exits!
Kissing her, I think of the cold laws of cause and effect.
Where are those extra units? Call the Central. We need every available unit here now!
I am afraid, but I start again from the beginning. Trace my own steps to the scene of the crime. I had wanted to be punished for what I had done, but Alfred Woden had kept his word. With his influence, ridiculously, I had emerged from my history of violence unscathed. A hero. I didn't thank him. I couldn't stomach it. I left the DEA. I went back to where I had started out. Back to the job. The NYPD.
Reported shots fired in the warehouse there, acknowledged.
It's mine. I'm on it.
10-4.
It wasn't a call for a homicide detective, but I knew the address. The warehouse belonged to Vladimir Lem. He was connected to organized crime. We went back a while, like brothers caught on opposite sides in a civil war. His words. I need backup. Unknown number of armed perps inside. Possible hostage situation.
10-4, backup is on its way.
I'm going in.
Okay. I probably should hurry, but I'm going to lower anyway. It usually pays off types of games. I don't think there's anything here.
With no way to deal with the past, I kept my eyes on the road, off the rearview mirror and the roadkill behind me. I chased lesser mysteries, other people's crimes.
dark and violent night, Dick Justice, a lone, hard-boiled fugitive cop, framed for the murder of his wife, on a quest for vengeance through the criminal underworld in the city's heart of darkness. The rain was coming down like all the angels in heaven had decided to take a piss at the same time. In a situation like mine, you can only think in metaphors. They had killed the love of my life. They were going to pay.
So that's literally the story of the first game.
Clean Sing Cleaning Products. After dirty business, come clean with us. Dial 555 Clean. That's 555 Clean. Clean Sing Cleaning Products. The choice of crime scene cleanup services.
Okay, we've watched that already at the hospital, but the Dick Justice TV series is obviously taking a piece out of the style of the game, because the protagonist of the TV series even was saying something like, "In my situation, you can only think in metaphors." He was speaking in this weird, kind of flowery language, which is exactly what Max Payne himself does. And the story was also rather similar, you know, with his family dying, him being a cop on the run and all that. so that is cool. Better not saving, because if I only fire something, I'll have to redo. This looks like a possible place for like a secret location or something. Oh yeah, there was some ammo for the Imprum, which I don't have yet, but...
NYPD! Whoa, easy, officer, easy. Just cleaning the place. Come on, officer, it's all legit. I work for the Squeaky Cleaning Company.
You didn't hear anything suspicious just now?
No. Oh, wait! You mean the gun workshop upstairs?
Take me there. Move.
Sure, officer, if that's what you want. You know, officer, you cops got it easy. All you have to do is go to the crime scene and look around. Through here, officer. Follow me.
Okay, is he going to get shot when he opens the door? It was something that usually happened in the first game.
After you, detective.
Well, certainly.
Oh, detective, I've got something for you.
Shoot the kid!
Certainly
The
was
perps were
killed
masquerading
here.
as cleaners.
Oh, so they were cleaners, but in a more metaphorical sense. Wait, that's the sign of the club from the first game. Jack Lupino's club? Not sure what it's doing here. Okay, this also kind of looks like a... Ah, okay. Well, worth it. case.
Trying to clean the place. They should have more sense than to bleed on the floor.
That's the ticket. We should find a way to kill him without spilling any blood. You know, gas him or poison or something.
It seems they're doing very little damage to me. But maybe that's because it's like an introductory stage, you know, kind of like a tutorial. Especially because seeing how the game doesn't have a separate tutorial, so they may very well treat the first mission as a sort of introduction, and that's why it's easier.
Hoffman's waiting at the van. The hardware's been bagged. As soon as the guys get Jackie Brown in there taken care of, we're done.
Okay. I'll round up the crew, make sure the cleanup's done. Bodies, blood, prints, air, mags, empty brats. When we're out of here, there won't be a shred of evidence for the cops to find. Just a ghost story.
Okay.
The room looked like a gun storage, but it had been cleaned out.
What is it? Like a loose box or a sure.
The answering machine had a message on it.
You've reached Annie Finn. I'm not here right now because I'm building some nasty things that kill. So leave a message after the beep.
You have one new message.
Sweet Annie. Vlad here, to be a gun in your gentle care. Ah, man can dream. Sorry I couldn't be there as promised. Something's come up. Nothing to worry about, but keep an eye out for trespassers. If anything happened to you, anything comes up, just whistle, and I'll be there.
You have no new messages.
Yeah, I think this warehouse is supposed to belong to Vlad anyway. Which I guess explains this sign at the very least, because his new club, but I'm not sure what's the Ragnarok sign here.
Enough chit-chat. Finish her.
Wait! The mob guys attacked us! I have no beef with you guys! You took them out! Listen, I work for Vladimir!
Honey, you work for no one.
What do you want? We can...
NYPD, drop them!
Finish her!
Oh God, no!
Like all the bad things in my life, it started with the death of a woman. I couldn't save her.
After him! Don't let him get away!
Well,
How long can it take? They're not supposed to cuddle with their afterwards. We need to wrap this up.
he could, if he only was aware of the fact that he can use bullet time. What's significance of that? It shows me the entrance of the building, which I already saw, because I entered it from there. Okay, I don't want to use the shotgun. I'm not a fan of it. Okay, I think it's a decent enough place to end this first episode, so I'm going to save and see you in the next one. Bye.